Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from SimpleProgrammer.com. I just finished my run. I'm about to do a meal, a ketogenic, really, not quite keto because there's probably a little bit more carbs in here, but they're coming from vegetable carbs. But basically a low carb meal that I've fasted until, like 6 o'clock today. So I haven't eaten anything all day. And I'm going to show you kind of what I eat, one of the meals I'm going to make. And this is going to be a big meal. I'm going to make this like in a pot. But I went to the grocery store and I bought a bunch of stuff. A lot of you vegetarians are going to like this when you see what I eat, except for maybe one of the things. But let's take a look here. I got some Greek salad here, basically like some olives and a feta cheese, and it's in olive oil. So this is very high in fat, okay? Not very many carbohydrates or protein. It's really pretty high fat, but good fats for you. Okay, because remember the olives and the olive oil, that would be the omega-3s. So, other thing here, I've got some organic bok choy. Cool. I'm going to be chopping that up. I've got some sprouts, Brussels sprouts here. I've got some kale. I've got a couple of jalapenos that I'm going to be chopping up. Some broccolini, some organic broccolini. Some organic green onions. Scallions, I think they're the same thing. A couple of green peppers, and here's some macadamia nuts. I'm not going to be cooking with those, but I'm going to eat those. Those are extremely high fat. Those are the highest fat nuts that you can get. Got to watch on the calories though. And then a little bit of Italian squash. This is probably the only thing that might be a little bit higher in the carbohydrates, but I'm not too worried about it. And then I've got some mushrooms here. And then I've of course got a salad, which I may not eat, I might not eat all this. In fact, I'm going to cook this all up. You'll see, I'll show you how I'm cooking this all up here, and then I'm going to make basically at least 2 meals out of it. And then I've got my dark chocolate. I usually get this 92% cocoa. The reason why I get the 92% cocoa is because if you look at the nutrition facts here, what you'll see is that the total carbs are 11, but 5 comes from fiber. So really the net carbs on this is very low. There, of course, serving size is 1/2 of a bar. So this is again pretty high in fat here. But if you want to get the net carbohydrates, you take the total carbs minus the fiber carbs. So there'll be 6 net carbs and only 3 grams of sugar for a serving. And this is pretty bitter if you've never tried a 92%. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but when you start to go down really anywhere less than this, the sugar starts to pop right up. So I usually have like half a bar or something like this, and it lasts me like half an hour. So I do it on keto days every once in a while, and it seems to work pretty well. All right, so I'm going to start cooking this food here. I also bought some cinnamon, which is good to reduce blood sugar or to increase insulin sensitivity, and some turmeric, which I just like. All right. And so one thing about this too, the reason why I like to do this, I don't do it all the time because it does take some time to cook all that stuff. But the nice thing is that it's very low calorie, right? And it's very filling, because really the only high calorie stuff in here is the beef, the oil in there, and a little bit of the cheese and the butter. But everything else, it's mostly veggies, which are very, very low calorie. So, and a lot of fiber. So this is really, I try to eat as much veggies as possible, and I just use it as filler and stuff. I think I've talked about this before, but it really doesn't harm you if you learn to just put veggies in everything that you make. You start to acquire the taste, and it fills you up more.
you get that fiber that you need that is really important. And yeah, and it's low calorie. So I'm gonna eat now.